this place or we'll be late.
Make a left on Astrology Avenue. Oh, I'm sorry, I meant right. It should be right here. 444 Spearway. Oh, turn.
It looks like Renee. Yay, we're on time. The James and Kellee Show.
Great, let's start the show. Hi, Kellee.
Hi, James. Hi, honey. How are you doing tonight?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you, and thank you for your information you sent me. I was
Oh,
telling
you're so welcome. You're so welcome. Anytime.
So, how was your weekend?
Well, it was very interesting. Some odd thing happened, James, and I will share this with everybody, and I'll share this with you. It was the strangest thing. It was so peaceful on Saturday. I was picking grapes. I've got a lot of grapes. Picking grapes. It was so beautiful. It was a lovely day. I was just in harmony with nature, just relaxed. And I kept hearing this voice that said, there's a snake nearby. There's a snake nearby. But it wasn't like, be careful, there's a snake. It wasn't like that. It was, there's a snake. You're going to see a snake. I thought, But didn't scare me. I just kept doing what I just kept doing anyway. But it kind of was with me all day, just seeing a snake but I wasn't afraid. I just was, alerted. It was more like I had been alerted to this. So if you get alerted, pay attention. Right. So about 8:00 at night, I was going to go watch a movie actually, but for some reason, that last second I go, I think I'm going to take the dogs out. So I take the dogs out, and it was a really beautiful night. And I look down on the front walkway, and I see this like coiled up thing. And I thought, did the dogs poop there? I didn't know what else. I've never seen a snake since I've been here in 4 years.
On your driveway?
Just on the walkway, like walking up to the front door, actually.
Wow.
And the dogs almost knocked me over going back into the house. And that's when I realized, we might have said snake. So I'm screaming, Don. Wow. Get the flashlight. Wow. So he comes running out, and sure enough, it was a snake.
Oh, because it was dark, Kellee. It was dark.
It was dark. It was 8:00 at night. It was dark.
Wow.
See, all I saw was something coiled up. Anyway, and it was about a 2-foot snake.
Wow.
And, so snakes bring transformation and death, rebirth.
It's show. Regrow. Leave your old skin.
Leave your old skin. But I was so proud of myself because I didn't get scared.
You were warned too.
I was warned, but it wasn't like a warning like this. It was like a gentle, there's a snake. Okay. But it didn't. I was really proud of the growth I've had with that.
Yeah, really.
Because there would have been a time for me where I would have been faster than my dogs, for sure.
And it was coiled up. It
was coiled, and then
it probably means something more than just straight out, right?
Well, no, then it went straight out.
It's better if it was straight out.
It was headed out. Yeah, then it straightened out. It was about 2 feet long. Yeah. So
I wonder, you think it's transformation. It's front of your house, and you're redoing your house, so maybe
it's transformation. Absolutely.
And it was coiled, which means it's home. It's
Yep, and there it went.
Maybe that's how
absolutely, because we're doing this full remodel. So yes, it was.
Wow, it's wild.
Wild timing, right? How was your weekend?
It was fun. I had some friends come by my house, and took a look around my gardens, and they loved it and fell in love with it. And of course, they didn't want to leave.
Oh, yeah. Of course not.
That's what happens. And it's been good. So I was watering the garden, looking around, and having a good time. My last time with Pearl until I leave. I leave Sunday to Europe. So tour to Europe. So so we're getting our lovin's in, and I can't be too attached because it's going to be tough when I go. But she's called a Velcro dog.
Yes, she is. She is the sweetest Velcro, though.
Yeah. It's been good. So just comfortable, and I'm thinking about writing another book, which I just told you the title before, which is.
Tell them the title. It's really good.
This one, it's going to be called "My Life Has Gone to the Dogs." Or "Life Has Gone to the Dogs."
It's true.
It's true.
It's true.
Now, because every day I'm like, it's such a different world than it used to be. Like, what's going on? How people behave. So I think it's going to be. And I was holding on AI last night, which is the beginning of the end, as far as I'm concerned, because no one's going to take responsibility for that Pandora's box.
Right.
No one's. It's all technology, which no one's even It's not even being looked at. It's not being. They're so up to getting it out there,
Mm.
and then I think the responsibility that I think it needs. They're trying to change everything. And fakery, it's gonna be fakery. It's gonna be like right now we're seeing on social media, on my Facebook page, I have like 80 different scammers telling people if they want to read it and contact me.
Right.
This is just the beginning of it. So people gotta be
Right.
aware that this.
Well, I saw a report with the teachers in AI, and they're going to have to really figure out how school that when we went to school, James, times have changed.
We used to have
Very, very different.
pencil holders and sharp
We had things called Cliff Notes. Remember Cliff Notes?
Cliff Notes.
Right.
That's right, Cliff Notes.
It's taken Cliff Notes
To a whole other world.
to the other world. So, yeah.
Wow. Let's say hi, Suzanne, Bachelor, and Diane, Sarah, Angie. And
Hi, Bernadette. Bernadette says, Earth school is hard. I better get my doctor's degree sitting beside God when I graduate. How can we remain persistent in doing what we can when our best is never enough for family, society, or the world? Well, good question. We're going to be talking about that today, Bernadette.
Yep. And wow. And Kelly, it's, we haven't been together because we've not been. So it's been a couple of weeks. So everyone said it's good to see you both together again.
I know. It's always great to see you, honey.
And then I'm leaving. So Kelly will be doing the show by herself the next month.
I've got 4 co-hosts, so it'll be great.
And who are they? Do you know them?
I've got Shirley's going to be with me next week, and I've got Patrice Bissot, who's an image consultant, and that's going to be great. I forgot. Oh, I've got Jen Weigel's going to be with me.
Great.
So we're going to be talking about that. And I've got
riot. She wrote a play about me,
She did. So it's going to be fun. I mean, it's going to be a great time.
Yeah, she's fun. That's great.
Yeah.
Good.
So, okay.
Welcome, Sonia Mason. You're for the first time. Welcome. Hello.
Yes. Okay. Wow. Okay.
I don't know why the idea for the show tonight was it came to me when Kelly and I were talking once, and it was about I think it's from I don't know. I think from years of doing the type of work that we do, and you being a therapist and a medium, you probably had very similar experiences with people, right?
Yes.
And I find that people get stuck. People get stuck in life, and they want to be better. They want to accomplish something. They want to feel they've completed something, feel fulfilled in life, and fulfilled in their destiny. And a lot of people get lost in the journey, or stay behind in the journey, or don't know themselves in the journey. So tonight, I want to talk a little about the challenges of that, of being stuck in this space that you don't feel fulfilled in your life.
Absolutely.
So, certain areas. And then I looked at my bookshelf preparing for the show, and I thought, I wrote about this. So my book, Unfinished Business, is all about what we're going to be talking tonight. So it's all about this book is based upon my years of working with the spirit world. And it was when I was living in Laguna Beach. I did a demonstration, and I heard the same thing I heard like 200 times before. And it was a spirit saying, if only I knew then what I know now, I would have made better decisions out of love, not fear. And they would realize the fear is just of the earth, not of who they are as a soul. Use love. So I wrote a book called Unfinished Business to have no should-haves, would-haves, or could-haves.
Oh.
To look back at your life when you pass over and when you have a life review, and look back and say, wow, I lived that life, that moment fully. I had no regrets about that. I behaved consciously. I did that in a conscious manner. It just flip something like that. So it's going to be really about, that's what it's about really tonight's show.
And it goes with the astrology for tonight.
Oh, yeah, Kelly, I forgot about the astrology.
No, because it goes with the astrology. Really, everything that we're going to be talking tonight about has everything to do with the astrology, because this is a wild month. And I know you're going to be challenged.
Right at the eclipse season.
You're going to be gone during this is right eclipse season, but October is a month of planetary chaos. It just is. So everybody put your seatbelt on, because I love this quote, James. I found this quote today, and it's, as a new season emerges, which is really where we are in this new season. As a new season emerges, I enter the rooms of my mind, determined to do some inner housekeeping.
Where did you find that?
I found that on an Ascended Master page. I'll post this. I'll send it.
Can you read it one more time, please?
Absolutely. As a new season emerges, I enter the rooms of my mind, determined to do some inner housekeeping.
Wow.
Isn't that good?
Yeah, those inner rooms really get me.
Right?
On a cruise we did, yeah.
Oh, totally. Totally. Well, this month, I mean, it helps. To me, that quote really says a lot about this month, because this month is about transformation. It's about renewal. and it's the promise of new beginnings. So this is really an important month. There's so many aspects, but I'll go over the huge month of October. I'll go over that on my Thursday show.
Okay.
But for right now, I do want to say a few things about a few dates here, because there's so many aspects in October that it makes major shifts in planetary energies. So again, welcome to eclipse season.
Eclipse season.
So let's just start with that. We have two large eclipses.
I'm writing this all down to take with me on my trip. So
okay, great. So on October 14th, we have the first solar eclipse. And what is important about this solar eclipse is that it goes through the United States. And that's a big deal because this eclipse is, it's a big one. They call this the Ring of Fire. And it's where the sun and the moon and earth are aligned. And this eclipse, you'll be able to see a ring of fire around it. And it's going to be through the United States, which means it will hit the United States harder than other places. And then it goes into Mexico too, but really, and South America, but it really goes through the United States. And in fact, James, if you look back at the year 2004 or 2005, whatever happened in your life during that time, it could have a similar energy to it. So if you look back at 2004, 2005, okay, and in Vedic astrology, this solar eclipse is in Virgo. And it is, yeah, I
wish there was whiskey in here instead of coffee.
Oh, it's the truth. It's the truth.
Yeah.
But it's at a very powerful degree at 27 degrees Virgo, and it's going to be conjunct with K2, which is the dragon's tail. So it's very powerful for representing change here.
Excuse me, Kelly, I messed up. October 14th, is that a full moon or just the first solar eclipse?
It's a solar eclipse, which is always a new moon. And it's in Virgo. Yes, it's in Virgo in
new moon
in Vedic astrology. Yes. And so when this happens, it brings about change for about about 60 days. So the eclipse is on the 14th of October, but it doesn't mean that something's going to happen on the 14th. It could, but it could last up to 6 months. But generally speaking, life begins to change within those 60 days. So this is it's a very potential for a lot of conflict for this one, and frustration and aggression and power struggles. So it's a great time actually for physical exercise, if you can bring some physical exercise into it. It's a very powerful eclipse, and that's the first eclipse. And also, there's the thing about this eclipse is there was an exact conjunction with Mars for this eclipse, and that could possibly trigger some intense events. So this is a big eclipse.
Mars, what is Mars in? Do you know it'll be in at that time?
Yes, it'll be in Virgo, and it
also Virgo.
Yeah, and Mars is. I'm sorry, James. No, it changes. It will be in Libra. I'm so sorry. It'll be in Libra.
That's better, isn't it? Mars in Libra is better than it would be.
No, it's actually worse, and I'll tell you why. Mars is not comfortable in Libra because if you think about it, Libra is associated with justice and balance and harmony, and Mars is like what? And also, Mars is at the same time combust with the sun, which means it's too close to the sun. So it's going to be agitated and very agitated. So these are some real anger, yes. But before this eclipse, on October 4th and 5th, Mars, again, the planet of war and energy, it conjuncts K2, which is right next to K2. Wow. K2 is the south node. And these are malefic planets. Malefic means challenging. So the 3rd, 4th, and 5th are probably going to be radical, intense days. And that's right, tomorrow, the next day, and the next day. So, yeah. So these are, we'll do the rest of the astrology, on Thursday. I'll continue with it. But there's a lot going on this month. So put your seatbelt on.
And go with the flow.
Go with the flow.
You just say you can't push the river. Just got to let it flow.
Can't push the river.
And if you sit back and observe, you'll feel it because energetically we're all made of water. So you'll feel that, but don't let it take you over, right, Kelly? Don't let it
absolutely,
take you over.
Absolutely. But I think it's so
part of it,
Oh,
there's a lot of fanatic energy, whatever that means. But
yes, but I think it's so important that we're doing the show tonight because we're going to be looking at releasing. Eclipses are about releasing.
Perfect timing.
It's perfect timing.
Timing, yeah.
So
Okay.
Here we go.
I wish Congress would go with the flow, says Marilyn. Yeah, I agree, Marilyn. I don't understand Congress, but the whole thing about the budget and passing the budget. I think that they should not get paid. Congress people should not get paid. Senators not get paid. If the government shuts down immediately, they lose their paycheck. That's really the way it should be. And I don't get political, but I saw that last night. I'm like, what? Just stop. That's when I decided to write the book.
Okay, good.
But I want to insult dogs, which it's not going to be insulted dogs. Trust me.
Good.
It's going to be it'll be flipped around a couple of times in the book.
Oh.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's just crazy. It's a crazy time. But again, you can see crazy all around you, but don't get caught up in it. It's almost like a circle, and you can be aware of that circle. Like just bring a fire. I love that, but it's true. But be aware of the energies, but you don't have to feed into it.
No.
Like Kellee is.
Do not have to. Do the work on yourself.
Yeah.
It's the great time for that.
What do you think about the test on Wednesday? I don't know what kind of test that is, Laura. Is there a test on Wednesday? I don't know.
I saw something about a phone but I don't remember what it. I don't think I paid any attention to it.
No. Janet, thank you. Said watch Heartstopper on Netflix. So thank you for that. I will.
Heartstopper. Okay.
Heartstopper sounds like a great title. Heartstopper.
Oh, okay.
So, emergency alert. Yeah, stay in observation. Very true, Lori.
Oh.
So, Kellee, what do you think? Well, maybe we can ask everybody here. What holds you back from living your life to the fullest potential? Like, what if you lived your life the best life you could, or what are you lacking to live the best life you could? And we're going to ask that way.
We can ask any of that. I mean, I could come up with some.
Yeah.
I have some words here. But what is holding you back from living your best life, or living a good life? What does hold you back? And I have to. I'm going to say. I'm going to start with. Make sure you have a physical, so we can rule out anything physical. But, are you depressed? I mean, depression is a persistent feeling of sadness and loss, like a loss of interest. Are you depressed? Now, under depression, there's often, especially with men, hidden anger. Are you really angry?
So interesting.
Right, James? I mean, are you really angry? So here's another one. Are you anxious? So anxiety is normal. I mean, frankly, it can be very normal. I can normalize anxiety. And it's actually the body's kind of fight, flight, and freeze response. So, but how anxious are you? Are you so anxious that it's ruining your life? I mean, you have to really look at this. Then I want to look at trauma. Everybody has had some form of trauma, and trauma is an emotional response to a terrible event. So, are you traumatized?
And that's normal to be traumatized about an event. Trust me.
Yes. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's part of the experience.
It's an awful experience, but on Earth, I think everybody has experienced trauma, James, don't you?
So that's why we come back here to experience those degrees of that.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I think we get to the other side, we realize, gosh, that time on Earth was so small, but the lessons that are available, the opportunities are great. And
are so great. I love that. I love putting that together like that. Right.
Yeah. And also, Kellee, I think this is interesting because I think how much do you feed the negative? How much do you feed the guilt, the resentment, the fear? Mm-hmm. How much do you feed it? There's that. Remember, you read once a year ago about that famous you feed it was a monkey or someone. It was a Chinese story about who do you feed, the dragon, the fear or the love? Because it'll grow.
Exactly.
So it's very true.
But I mean, these are just things to look at. I mean, take a note. Are you depressed? Are you anxious? Are you angry? Usually you know what's going on, but in some cases you may just be unaware of this. But here's another one. Are you in grief? Are you grieving? I mean, that's an important one.
Big one.
A big one. Are you suicidal? That's a big one. Are you dealing with addictions? Are you burned out? Are you dealing with family dysfunction or relationship dysfunction? Have you been abandoned? Have you been rejected? Have you been betrayed? I mean, all of those are things to look at psychologically.
And they're all human experiences that a lot of us have gone through.
Well, and James, I will tell you, you said something the other day to me, and I thought it was so important. You said, as you read my book, you said that I was able to get through all of this. Like everything, all the traumas I had gone through, I was able to.
And we're talking a lot of trauma you went through. I mean, you've really a lot of trauma.
A lot. But I will tell you the big buzzword, and if anybody can take away this, because I think it's a good takeaway. And if we talk about tools if I'm literally with all those things that I just mentioned, because we have all kinds of things that I can help you with as far as any of those.
Mm-hmm.
But the important part for that, I feel, is resilience. And every soul has the capacity for resilience. Everybody.
How do you get the resilience, Kellee?
Okay, so I'm glad you asked. Okay, this is how you get resilience, because resilience is just the process and the outcome of successfully adapting to a difficult or a challenging life experience. Okay,
I love that.
Isn't that good?
Yeah, that's a good one. Difficult life experience. Okay.
Yeah, and what resilience isn't, it doesn't mean that a person's not going to experience difficulty or distress, because we're all going to have distress in our life at some point.
Part of the human condition.
It's part of the human condition, absolutely. But here are some things to do to get to build on your resilience, because I remember once a therapist said to me, "You know how you got through that, Kellee?" She said, "You were resilient." And I never put that word together like this, but the truth is, I was resilient.
But Kellee, what you shared in that book, and what a lot of people have gone through, and I'm the same way, is those things that knock us down build us up.
Yes.
Make us stronger. And I'm reading your book, which I'm still in the middle of. I mean, it's amazing you got through that, but it taught you. It gave you strength.
I didn't stay in the trauma of it.
No, you moved on.
Now I didn't move like this. No. I did not move like this.
I had crazy at one point. Like, I might cry. Am I losing it? What's going on?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it took time to get to where I am right now, but I still every day would be working on something with it, And there
Kellee, one thing I got for you, which I don't think you put in the book a lot, but I know who you are, is you believed in yourself. You really had a sense of who I am. And I think that's really important for everyone to have a sense of they know who they are and they know who they're not. And I think people get somewhere tuned into the negative and the positive. And I think we get those things that knock us down. We've got to look at that and say, is it going to make me stronger or is it going to push me down? And I think we go through these lessons to make us stronger, to be the best we can be, to expand our souls, the soul experiences, and what we do with that experience. Where are we going to leave behind or move ahead?
So interesting enough, one of the tools I want to give everybody is there's a commandment, and here's the commandment: be you. And the next commandment after that is be more you. So when I was young, my dad used to say, be Kellee. Don't be anybody else. Be Kellee.
Yeah.
And I really embraced that, and you really helped me with that.
Well, you did. I think that each one of us is, and the more older I get and the more I live, I get it that we're all God, and we have, we're all that. And that on Facebook today, the saying that you had, that people only know what they know, and that's all they know. Right. And it's so true.
It's all they know. Yeah, it's so true.
But everybody is God. Everybody has a different experience in life, or lifetimes, or places, spaces they've been through and come from, and traumas and families and so forth. So you got to accept just where they're at that time. Everybody's God. And no one's better than anybody else. You're just going through experiences. So if I go, let's say, to a Starbucks or Target Rose today, or I'm really in observation mode watching a mother interact with her baby, or, this guy interact with his friend, or I just become more aware of it and how people handle things. And a lot of people, as we've talked about before, are sleepwalkers. They just go through life.
Completely. Well, that's one things that's so important is that you have to be aware. You have to wake yourself up here.
Have to.
But before we forget, James, let me do a few tools for resilience, because I think it's important here. Yep. First thing, to help yourself, it's a muscle. You have to remember you're increasing your resilience. It takes time and it takes intentionality. You've got to have intention behind this. So if your thought is, I'm going to be resilient, I'm going to learn to be resilient. So the first thing is build your connections, maybe prioritize relationships, okay? Because connections, I had certain people that I could call on that helped me through this. Not a lot, but they were important. The ones that were there were really important, okay? Another one is foster wellness, which means this: take care of your body, take care of your mind, avoid negative thoughts, avoid negative people.
And then people, avoid negative people.
Exactly. A third one is to help with resilience is find purpose, which is helping others. How about that? Be proactive in helping others, because when you help others, it builds a muscle in you, and you start to come alive with the resilience that you never thought you'd have. It's
And
really a good one.
Kelly, you get away from your headspace of always putting
Yes,
yourself down and judging yourself and victim consciousness. We got to get out of victim consciousness.
absolutely.
Those
And,
tapes, you can't watch a rewind all the time. Get
oh
something
my
new.
gosh, James, as we said the other day, it gets boring. You know, it's like, I mean, for God's sakes, even you've got to get bored with yourself if you keep doing that. But move towards your goals, even if it seems like even if it's a small goal. Continue to accomplish something in the day, just to move forward. Because remember, you're building this resilience muscle here. Okay,
Yeah.
look for opportunities for self-discovery, which is really fun to do. Look for things that maybe you would have never imagined before. But just keep looking for opportunities to grow yourself. All right, and accept change. And I think that for me, that was the big one, James. Accept change. Because once I realized, like, that old book, Who Moved My Cheese, it was gone. My whole life that I knew was gone. So once I could accept that, and that's a big one, acceptance, it did everything. Changed
Change
me.
is always happening. Every day we're changing. So change is part of our life.
Yeah.
It's a part of our blood. It's part of our existence. It's part of movement. Everything is movement and change.
Yeah.
And we get stuck into what we know. And,
Yes.
it's like I was talking about house and things, attachments. I mean, what are we attached to?
Yes.
We have to release attachments, because that doesn't define us. That
No.
really doesn't. It's very
And in
true.
fact, often it makes our life, bogs us down.
Yeah.
Whether it's material attachments or people attachments.
Yeah, it's true. So everybody should grab a piece of paper and a pen and
Yes.
write some of this stuff down, because it's really, really important. I have some from my book, Unfinished Business, too. I have a couple.
Yes, which I love that book.
It's a good book.
It's a
So
great book.
a couple of things. I'll just, Kelly, if you don't mind, just mention a couple of chapters. The blame game. How many of us spend so much time in our life blaming others for the way we're living, right? Blame someone else. Don't take responsibility for your life.
Right.
Your parents or your families, and that's why you're the way you are. That's why you're stuck in the situation you're in. Sometimes people talk about that.
Yeah.
And then forgiveness. Forgive and forget. Really important. A lot of people
important.
Forgive.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think any of that is control, Kelly, the forgive thing?
Yeah, it is. I think it's a complete control thing. Well, and also what's under that? What kind of anger is behind that? I mean, we really want to look at this. Do you want to just hold on to the anger?
What's it going to do for you?
What's it going to do for you?
Better or worse?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, James, that kind of goes along with setting boundaries too.
Yep.
And I had an interesting thing for boundaries, because I thought this was important for people to understand, actually, when I say set a boundary, what that really means. And I thought this was important. I'm going to give just two quick examples. But it's a really good tool to set boundaries, because you'll hear us talk about this all the time. So let's say you say to somebody, I don't like it when you're mean to me. That's not a boundary.
Right.
Okay. This is the boundary. If you are mean to me, I am walking away. That's the boundary. Okay. Yeah. So how about this? There's one quick one. Please stop talking to me like that. It hurts my feelings. That's not a boundary. Okay. If you continue to talk to me like that, I've walked away already. You're not making a request. So that's how you can set a boundary like that, literally, with action behind it.
I did one once, and as you know, this whole year has been kind of letting go. And my boundary word was, if you treat me like that, you don't get to have me. Bye-bye.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
I'm walking away. Goodbye.
You don't get to have me.
Exactly. It's
really, really true. A couple of things I have here to ask people. You can ask yourself. So write these things down too, if you would like, folks. When you're looking at your life and what's holding you back, obstacles or the past or so forth. Number one, what are the things that I want to do to achieve? What's the most important things I want to achieve in my life? The question is just to ask yourself, why are they so important to me? These things.
That's a good question.
Why are they so important to me? What do I want to deal with first, and why? Because sometimes it's overwhelming for people. So it's like, I can't, this is too much over. So I'll pick one thing important. And then.
Well, I think that's what you said is so important. Just pick one thing. It doesn't have to be the whole thing. We're not doing this to overwhelm you.
No.
We don't want that. But some people, especially empaths, maybe they can just start with one thing. It can be a small thing. Again, you're creating a muscle for resilience.
Yeah, because I hear a lot of people say, I can't deal with the spirits that are coming around. Like, I feel the people say so much. Come on now. That you're not in control. You're not taking responsibility. Right. Take one thing, center yourself, and notice just one thing that you go after.
So true.
When is it realistic for me to have achieved each of them? So maybe you can set goals to give yourself a timeline.
Yes. I think that's a realistic timeline. Yes.
A realistic timeline. Where must I start? And what are the first small steps I must take?
Where must I start? Whatever it is that comes to you.
So whatever your issue is, if it's not forgiving someone, then there's going to be maybe forgiving them. And you don't have to necessarily speak with them. You can write them a card or just an email and not be attached to the outcome. Just do that.
Yes.
And if it's money, you have to ask yourself, because I see people, when we asked earlier what they're holding back on, some are money, they don't like money. Well, why are you not having money? Why are you not in abundance? What's holding you back? Or you feel you don't deserve it? You don't deserve success or security? What is holding you back and why? So these are little research within yourself to see what's holding you back, and holding you back to live the best life you can.
Yeah.
A couple of things here. How can I measure my progress and keep on track? Which I think is really important. And that's like maybe keep a journal, like a piece of paper, but keep a journal. I keep journals and I date them, and I put down the important things of what I want to accomplish that day and what I did. So another way of doing it. How can they gain? What can be gained by helping? What can be gained by helping someone else?
That's a very good one.
Yeah. After I get there, what might I want to do next?
Now that's exciting. Because when you've released all this, the kind of things that have held you back, what do you want to do? If you didn't have all this, what would you be doing? Which is very exciting.
You realize also people, you've got to realize that everybody changes every day. So something from the past that you wanted might be changed now. So how have your ambitions changed over time? What's important to you now than wasn't earlier in life? And look at your past and see where you've come from the past. Because you've moved, you've progressed. Maybe not the way you thought you would. Really do, but it takes a very interesting way and travels, as Kellee and I know. Kellee probably knows more than I do because she's the book I read.
Well, listen, you've been through a lot of roller coaster rides yourself.
Writing down a game plan is really important. Know what you want, and the first step is awareness. The first step of any movement is being aware, like Kellee said earlier. Opening yourself, being aware, awake, right?
Awake is so important.
Yeah. Then I wrote down something to do from the book, Unfinished Business, the things that you do when you start having doubts, because a lot of people are having doubts.
Oh, let's talk about that.
Yeah. So one I wrote was look back, pause, and see where you've come from, which I just talked about. And did you like it there? Reassure yourself that doubt is better than retreat.
That's good because everybody's going to have doubt. You might take 2 steps forward and 3 steps back.
Exactly.
It's just human.
Yeah. And interesting enough, I would say also look at people that you're looking up to in life, like who are your heroes, and just say, and why are they your heroes? Right. What are you learning from them? And also, I think it's a great time to go within and to really assess where we are in our life as far as the soul level. If we passed over tomorrow and we had a life review, can we look back and see the moments of love that we've left behind? And even that comes into loving ourselves. We put that aside. A lot of, in the book Unfinished Business, I talk so much about and have a lot of examples of people who come back and said, I didn't love myself enough. I don't know why, but it was others' energy I was living, not my energy. I had to take the time of be aware of who I was. And I did that because I was a mother. I was too busy in a business.
Right.
It's interesting. Yeah.
Oh, it's so true.
It's so
and,
true.
There's a season for everything. When you're a young mother and you're taking care of the family, or you're working and you're doing all this. But what happens is when you get older, and especially when you get to be, like 60 plus or late 50s, you start really looking at your life in a different way than you did when you were in your 30s, 40s, and 50s, 30s and 40s at least.
Yeah, and 50s.
And 50s. Yeah. I mean, there's something about that turning phase where you look back and you have some wisdom there, or you understand, or you have compassion for what you went through.
Yeah.
Smith Kennedy says, I'm nervous about that life review.
Well,
That's
good.
very
That'll make
funny.
you stop right now and look back and see, okay, why am I nervous about this?
Right.
What have I not accomplished? And if do I have to say I love you to somebody, or do I have to start loving myself more? There's always a new day. There's always change, turn leaf over.
Right. So true. Marilyn McCormick says,
Yeah.
is it possible that dreams provide guidance? 100%, Marilyn. You betcha. Good question.
Get out of your conscious mind there, so you're not forcing,
Right.
just receiving things. And my meditation course, the Journey of Spiritual Meditation,
Yes.
has a lot of these like, I don't want to say your superpowers, but getting in contact with your superpowers, getting in touch with your soul self, and really helping yourself to relax.
It is a superpower.
It is a superpower. It is. Builds, like I said, resilience, and also being strength of and empowering yourself. You get that sense of you see yourself from the inside out instead of the outside in. That's what that meditation course does.
Well,
So,
and let's talk about that meditation course, because are you offering, you have a special?
yeah, but for tonight, I thought I would do that. Yeah, maybe I'd offer that. So it's such an important course for a lot of people. And listen, you don't do it, but I would. I made this.
It's a great course.
I thought the first 5 people that would sign up tonight, I would send them a personal copy of my book, Unfinished Business.
Which is a great book and a personal copy, and you'll sign it.
Oh, I'll sign it. Oh, yeah.
Oh, this is fantastic. And it's called The Spiritual Journey of Meditation.
Maybe I'll throw some of those cards, my card deck into.
Oh, how fun. And it's the first 5 people.
The first 5 people, yeah, that sign up for tonight. And go to JP School Mystical Arts. That's the way to find it. And it's a great course, but it has a lot to do with what we're talking about tonight as well, and the things I've been mentioning. That's good.
Right. Oh, good. Good. Yeah. And that, one of the things, James, is educate yourself on different things, right? I mean, whether it's meditation, learn to meditate, whether it's a psychological issue you want to learn about, it's fascinating when you start to learn things, because then you are starting to get very resilient then.
And something you talk about in resilience, I'm going to go over a list of things I have to. But resilience also, one thing, having resilience too, find the joy in your life. Laugh at yourself. Laughing at the man that did, I was watching last night, Barry Humphries, an Australian comic who did Madame Dame Edna. Oh, fantastic comic. And he was interviewed, and he said, the only regret about living a long life is it went too fast. And Dame Edna, who doesn't know, you should check it out, because it's a guy, Barry Humphries, who was married, and he was just very different. And he becomes Dame Edna, and you can see this change. And he talks about the joy and always living as a child. And he's
yes.
And that's, you and I have that childlike innocent joy. You have to get back to your joy. What makes you that joy? So that's important.
It's so true.
Keep it, find love in your life, something you love, and keep it there. Keep the aspect of yourself that you love and you trust. And so building yourself up.
Absolutely. Rhonda Johansson says, I'm amazed at the sheer number of practical suggestions in these videos. Oh, I'm so glad, Rhonda. Thank you.
Thank you, Rhonda. We're both Virgos, so we just down to earth, really. And we've worked in the higher levels, but then the earth, we got to do the earthly work too, to remind people of who they are. Their souls have a human experience, and these human conditions are not always easy. So if we can shed light, forget the pun, on them, then all the better. That's what we're doing.
Please do. Wait, Ann Margaret says something. Hi, Ann Margaret. She says, James, my mother ended up on stage in Boston at a Dame Edna show.
Oh, that's perfect. That's perfect. Oh, I love that.
Oh God, Ann Margaret, that is
comedians are very much healers, and many of them are healers.
And most of them, I've known so many of them, most of them have had traumatic backgrounds.
A lot of trauma
Backgrounds.
I worked with Joan Rivers right after her husband killed himself.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So Anyway, find out I guess the things that make us, like I said earlier, the hardest things are, the easier we can get through them. I don't know. It's
right. James, one of the big ones too in helping you, get your resilience is learn to say a simple word. And here's the word: no. Learn to say no.
No.
You know it, right? Because it's so interesting. If you listen to the physiology of your body, which, let's say you say yes and you really mean to say no, but what happens is your throat constricts, or your stomach starts to turn, or you just feel off. learn to say no. I say no first. You say no first, Jan. We
I
always
say
say
no.
no first.
Yeah.
First, it's no. And then I'll have to think about it.
Now I'm learning a new one, which is, you'll relate to this. I don't think I've told
Okay.
you, but it learn to say no, but also learn for people not to take advantage of me. And that's
Oh.
my own responsibility, because I just put it out there. And sometimes a lot of us just want to love somebody because we want to share love, but then we also have to have that boundary. And then you get upset when people hurt you in some way. And it's like, wow, I gave too much, or, it's interesting because you have to learn to say no. People take advantage, and they will.
Well, they do. And
Smile.
oh my God. And you don't want to be a people pleaser. That is
No.
like no. See,
No.
No, you want to please yourself. I'm not in a narcissistic way. I'm not talking about a personality disorder, but really love yourself.
Kelly, I did this exercise in my workshops and a couple of things. It's a good one for everybody if you want to write this down.
Okay.
10 ideas to stretch your thinking.
Oh, good. Okay.
And the first thing I had people do in an exercise was write their own obituary.
They do that in therapy too.
It works. It really does work.
Shocking. I knew of a therapy group that actually went to a funeral and the cemetery and everything doing this. But yeah, okay. So you write your own obit. That's fascinating.
It's amazing what comes through to people. It's just amazing. And then also read people's biographies. Read famous biographies. Like I said before, you heroes' biographies and the accounts of lives you consider to be successful. Some will be household names, but look deeper for people less well known that have achieved a field you can relate to.
I love that
diversity, right? Also, I think it's important that you look at I'm a writer, so I like to have an exercise where I look at the past. So maybe there's old books that I had, like that I wrote, or journals I've written, or things that I've done, photographs. How have I changed? And get that old thinking out of the way. Cover your wall, the old way graffiti, if you will, the old ways of thinking, the old ways of looking at yourself. Just the memory.
Just to see how far you've come.
How you progressed, and how did you progress? What do the things take to make you resilient? Come back to who you are, to know yourself, or what held you back from knowing yourself. So,
and that begs me to say this: on Earth, we do grow.
Yep.
We're here to grow. You don't want to stay stagnant. Like I know 60-year-olds that are the same as when I knew them when they were 6 years old.
Isn't it amazing?
It's amazing. I cannot believe it.
And those are the ones
I have to say it like that. Exactly. I want to say grow up.
Yeah.
Please, we're here to grow up.
They only know what they know, and that's all
I know. And that's when I have to go, okay, boundaries. I mean, again, it's a constant. It's not easy. It's constant.
It's not easy. So also there are ways of different ways to achieve what you want in life. A couple of them I wrote down was making time to do what you want to do realistically, making the time, put the time aside.
I love that one. You have to.
You want to exercise, put the time aside to exercise. You want to, do certain activities, get the time to do the activities, put it on your calendar if you have to. It's really important. Also, what would make, I love this one. There's a picture of yourself there. Okay. And what I do is I have a picture of myself, right? And then there'll be a blank piece of paper with an outline of myself. And I see where I'm today, and then what I want to achieve the next 2 weeks. And I start writing each day, maybe a word, or I draw something, or I have an idea around the new me. And at the end of the 2-week period,
love this.
And so everybody can do this because we're coming back to part 2. We got this part of your challenge.
This is part we're going to do part 2. Absolutely,
we're doing a challenge for you. This is part 1.
You're going to have a challenge for sure. Right.
So,
James, I love that.
Isn't that a good one? So you see
that's a good one.
What's important to you, what's not, and so that's a good one. And another thing, curiosity. So when you're holding back, say, of success in your life, I want you to write down, why are you not successful? What is it holding you back? What's important? And if it's people that are holding you back from another situation where past, you've been traumatized, things of the family, go back and talk to the family members. Is that a good one, Kelly? Can they do that, or can they not do that?
Yes, absolutely. You can do that. It's called the empty chair, and it's a great technique. I don't care if they're dead. I don't care if they're alive. It doesn't really matter. You have an empty chair, and you visualize this empty chair, or you have a chair right there, and you set that person there, and you tell them everything that they need to hear.
Yeah.
And it's a funny thing about energy. It does go out. And if they're on the other side, they're listening.
Oh yeah. They hear our
Oh,
thoughts
you betcha.
all the time. Yeah, good one. Yeah, and what is a lot of people said before, like money holds us back, not having money, courage. They need courage. What within you is not? Why don't you have courage? For what reason? What is fear to you?
Hmm.
Fear.
Courage is huge
So
because
courage.
often people are afraid, well, my father will do this if I do that, or my mother will think this, or my best friend will think that, or my spouse will think this. And again, it goes back to, are you living for self? Or are you living for others? And I'm not saying that as a narcissist. That's an existential phrase. Are you living for self? Or are you living for others? And you're here on earth to have your own experience.
Yes, to love yourself, number one.
Yes. Oh, that's huge.
Because what
Yeah.
holds you back from loving yourself, folks?
Yes.
What is that? What are those things that hold you back from honoring your sacred soul? Because everybody's
Yes.
a sacred soul. And what holds
Yes.
you back from not knowing that? Is it
Oh, right.
religion? Is it belief systems? Is it trauma from the past? Is it other people's thoughts of you? Are you trying to please people? What is so many people get caught up with that pleasing others?
Oh my gosh. And this is so great, James. You're going to love this. This is from Ann Buffington. Ann, I really appreciate this. She says, the worst thing is living another's version of life.
That's hell. Yeah, that is.
That is hell. If I had to live somebody else's version, which I did early on.
Yes, you certainly did.
I did early on.
It's part of that
That's true.
book. That's soul you lived with other people's, because you wanted their love, you wanted their acceptance. And until you came to the point of accepting who you are, totally who you are,
yes,
you didn't come into your freedom. It's a release. It's a freedom. It's a new freedom.
Yes.
And we can only find that freedom, that emancipation, if we honor who we are. What other people think of you is none of your business.
Which is the greatest statement of all. Yeah.
Really,
doesn't matter.
Yeah. Everyone is a snowflake, unique and different.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to celebrate the sacredness of the uniqueness, the difference.
And as a unique soul, you're here to do something unique. Every unique soul has their own superpowers. We were talking, discover your superpower. Your own fingerprint. You're right.
Yep.
Okay. Renee Hounsel says, hi, Renee. She says, ask ourselves if we're afraid to fail so we don't try. We get stuck projecting what we think will happen by past experiences. Oh, absolutely, Renee. People, that's a constant with people. They're so afraid that they just can't move forward because, I tried it once and it didn't work. Oh, please.
And it's that control thing as well. And, and you think all the time you waste thinking, oh, am I going to fail? Am I going to fail? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? So you're stuck in that space. Yeah. So if you are in that space, there's some people here now for this challenge, do something that you have no control over.
Yeah. Oh my God. Sarah Hughes says, my cousin passed away after living her whole life how her mom wished. I was so sad, but that's very sad, Sarah.
Really sad. It's not living a life, is it? I mean, life is a great opportunity for us, even though we don't know, because we don't know a lot.
Right.
We're in this little tiny space here, in this
right.
3D box. There's so much more going on. And the best what we can do is using love of self and love of others, and just live a simple life of love. And that's really all we can do. You can't control other people. You can't control
you can't.
You can't control what's going to happen. All you can control is how you respond to people. And you can take control of your life. Yes. Whether people think you is none of your business, remember.
And a couple of things here. As far as if you're an empath and you need tools, James has a great class for that. Because empaths have trouble with all of this. Yeah. Because they feel this and they feel that. You really do need to get some real strong strength as an empath. I'm an empath. You're an empath.
We can highly sensitive. It's called.
It's really, really good. And then Donna Morin says, what about holding feelings of guilt from having negative feelings towards somebody who's passed?
Go right ahead, Kelly.
All right. Empty chair. Okay, Donna, let's talk. I'd like to know why you're feeling guilt, because I'm the first one to go, no, it's a useless energy. I mean, unless you're a sociopath. Did you do something? Did you kill this person? That's what I want to know. But no, holding feelings of guilt. Did this person do something to you? And then why would you feel guilt? So that's a really good question.
First chapter of my book.
Okay, go ahead. Let's get to the guilt. Okay, guilt.
Yeah. So it's every man is guilty of all the good he didn't do.
Oh, all the good he didn't do.
Voltaire said that. Yes, that's really good. But a lot of that chapter is about people that have passed over and their loved ones behind, saying, "I could have been there when they died. I should have done better." Don't do that to yourself. Don't
No.
beat yourself up, because that was then, now is now.
Oh my
And
gosh.
you
No,
got to
and you have to. Angie Moore says, I was brought up with guilt. It has been hard to shake. Now, so let me ask you about this. People that were brought up with guilt, is that like a Jewish thing or a Catholic thing? Or, I mean, I'm serious. I mean, does it come from something like this? And that's something that, a great therapist can help you with that.
I was raised with Catholic guilt, but it was
you were.
But I was always my own unique person. I guess I came in that way, that never really what other people
Me
thought.
too, James. I didn't have any of that. Thank goodness. Yeah.
But a lot of people hold on to those traditions, or the way, or you wanted to please your parents. I mean, I was guilty that at 14 when I went to a seminary for my mother. I wanted my mother to be proud of me, and I knew the Catholic thing would be good for her. And of course, I didn't fit in at all. and that's where I heard it was Easter time, where each student had to sit and pray, and I heard a voice very clearly say, "You must find God outside these four walls. God is so much bigger than these four walls. Find God outside these four walls."
Okay, so that was an objective voice. That was an objective voice you heard.
That was objective.
Yeah,
and I ran out and went to the New York Public High School, and the best time of my life.
Oh.
And the seminary was good for a foundation, but it reinforced my living by the golden rule. Treat another person as you want to be treated. What's your intention behind that, the action? And that really reinforced it. So I will say, there are some jewels in all religions, but we just got to be careful when that takes the human form of control and fear.
Oh, absolutely. It said, Anita Glover says, the bad thing is some people believe they are trapped. Yeah, people do think that. And,
you can have whatever you want with your thoughts. Your thoughts create. And
yes,
you are in your life right now, you can change it. You can change it right now with your thoughts.
It's so important that you're saying that.
Yeah, it's really important, because thoughts are changing. I mean, I told the story before, but I have to say it again. I went many, many years ago, probably 20 years now, to a nutritionist, and someone suggested it. So I went to go see them, and they took blood, put it on a slide, and there was a scientist there in his lab coat. His back was to me, and he's looking at the blood cells under a microscope, and there's a big screen. I could see it. Yeah. And he's saying, without looking at me, you can't eat chicken anymore. I'm like, I can't eat chicken. I love chicken. It's not good for you. And I looked at that screen, all the cells are clumped together. I'm like, wow, that's weird. But there's movement in there. So and I thought to myself, I'm going to try something. And I thought, didn't say a thing. Love to you all. Love. And I looked on the screen, and cells unclumped one at a time with a gold aura around each one. And it was in single file, perfect movement. And the scientist said to me, still with his back to me, he looked at the screen, he goes, the most sophisticated communication system we have, huh? And of course,
that's
amazing.
I see it. That's amazing.
Thoughts bring movement. Thoughts can change. Yes. It might not happen right away, but you put it in motion and keep it, the fuel it needs.
Absolutely. Wow, James, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, Donna Moran says, my husband died of an addiction overdose. I know it's an illness, yet I feel I'm left dealing with so many challenges alone. I'm sure you are, Donna. That's a big one. That is a big one. I hope you are getting some type of therapy, because it would really help with that, because there's a codependence that comes with that as well. So I hope that you are in therapy, Donna.
Kellee, can you just go on just a little bit about codependency and talk just a little bit about that?
Yeah, when you have
a lot of people fall into that. I do with my daughter here. I'm telling you.
That's true. I mean, codependency, there's a great book by Melanie Beattie called Codependent No More. And she started the foundation of codependency, the Anonymous. And I will tell you that codependency is something that you'll get. It's two traumas that kind of bond together. So the couples bond over a certain trauma, and then they stay together and they get codependent together. And
or they
don't.
But codependence happens without even. I mean, I was in a codependent relationship. A lot of us get in them, without realizing
it can happen because, again, James, if we go back in time to whatever our traumas were, it has a lot to do with our traumas, and you might be picking your father, you might be picking your mother, you're so unconscious when you're picking somebody, but the codependence it's a hard one to break. So you have to really be conscious of it.
Going along with that, on the list, you want to write in a journal, what's keeping them sleeping? From waking up and taking a part of life. What holds them back? What keeps them in slumber?
Right. What keeps them in slumber? Oh my gosh.
About where does that come from? Really go down to the deepest levels of where does it come from? So again, the challenge is to do something you've never done before. You have to have a little courage, something that lets go of control. If you can't forgive someone, write them a letter, communicate with them. If it's a money situation, what holds you back from that situation, and jump through it, try to do something in your life physically that'll go toward that goal of letting go of that fear of not having security and so forth. And if not, where's it coming from? It's an exploration.
And you guys really work on this, because we have a part 2 coming up in November, second week in November. We're going to be doing this. And we'd love to know
the results of what you've done to challenge yourself to live a positive.
Challenge yourself.
For the best life possible, because we're only given a very short time on this earth. And it's really up to us. And I think part of the reason this show was, Kelly, I want to do this, was to help remind everybody, this is not a dress rehearsal.
It's not a dress rehearsal. Right.
So you got it. What's holding you back from living the best life you can and being empowered yourself?
Okay. And you've got some events coming up. You've got one this Thursday. Let's talk about this.
Yeah. Evening of Spirit is Thursday. We still have openings for some for messages from the spirit world. I've done it last month. I did a very different way with music, and I'm going to do it again. They gave me today what we're going to do. It's very different. It's music, but it's through mediumship and mind journeys, and everybody gets to have an experience. So, yeah, it's really kind of cool.
The music is so fantastic.
Kelly heard a couple of songs in the cruise.
Oh.
So it's what did they like to say to you? That one song, Let Go.
Oh, I had a lovely session with a woman last week who had listened to it was on the cruise with us, the song that you played. I think it was something about control. I can't remember the name of it. And she was so moved. She had memories of early on childhood, which was not good. And it was so healing for her. It was so healing. She said it was life-changing. It changed her. And it's true. I can tell you it changed her life, James. Yeah. It's interesting how that music just opened her up.
And that's what happened last month.
And she was in that space.
Yeah. It helps people get right in that zone. And the spirit people come in and we welcome them, and you have your own experience, and we have messages for that. So that'll be this Thursday night. And that's at vanprog.com. You can get those.
And then you've got, what else do you have? Mediumship 2.
Mediumship 2 is out now. And I'm going to do individual mentoring with people. And that's new. And we're having a weekend where we come together physically and we do it together. So it's a whole new program for Mediumship 2. That's here for one more week. We extended it for a week. And it'll be closing on Sunday. And Mediumship 1 we still have on. It's an evergreen course, but also that spiritual meditation course. I'm pushing that for people to, especially tonight in this challenge that we're giving them, to just look into that if they want.
Really? So, everybody's so nice.
Kelly, what are you doing this week? I know you're.
Well, on Thursday, I also have my show where I'm going to be doing all the astrology for all of October. Perfect. So there'll be so many things going on this month, everybody. Really look at what you can release, where you want to go, because life is exciting, right, James? It can be very exciting.
Create a new room in your mind.
Okay, I will write this out and I'll send it to you, and we'll make a post. We'll have Carissa make a post, because it's a good one.
Create a new room. Design that room any way you want, everybody. Right. And come back next time, part 2. You'll tell us what your room looks like. And
everybody's saying, and then join me next Monday night. James will be gone, but I've got Dr. Shirley and Kellee there, and you leave on Sunday. And Shirley and I are going to be talking about, who knows with Shirley, some psychological something or other, and I'll bring in the spiritual aspect as she goes in down the trauma path. But Shirley's great. It's going to be fun. It's going to be great. Fun. So fun. All right, everybody. So
thanks,
James,
everyone. Thanks, Kelly.
Everybody. Bye, everybody.
Guys.
You've been listening to Both Sides Now and Beyond, featuring spiritual medium and master teacher James Van Praagh and spiritual medium and psychotherapist Kelly White.
That was great. Maybe we changed some lives.
And maybe opened up some minds.
Which way do I turn?
Right. I mean left.
The James and Kellee Show.